So I made a slight mistake, guys. So let's talk about it. Okay, so I made my bearing video yesterday, and apparently there's some disinformation in it, and I wanted to kind of talk about it because I was highly confused, and then I actually had made another video, and I'm still even more confused. But now I literally quite understand. You know, this is what I'm going to say, and I don't even know how to say it right here. Apparently, my car has ran 169,000 miles on the original bearings, with me changing up the oil, with minus 20-degree winters in New York, and and people say, oh, your bearings didn't really look that great. Man, I've seen way worse bearings coming out of cars with way less miles that had way more copper showing than what I had. So let me kind of explain a little bit. Um, so first, M Performance commented, and he said, "Hey man, those aren't BE bearings. You want to know what? You're right. They weren't. I went back and I looked at the markings on them, and they say Clevite bearings. So I posted that video, talk about how they were Clevite and not BE, and the guy's like, dude, not this other guy, another guy. He's like, Clevites were the original bearings that were in your car. He's like, does it have an 088 slash 089 marking? Well, it does. So that, obviously my installer probably wasn't educated the difference between the two different types of bearings that were changed from the 2007 Euro model to all the way up to 2010 and a half or something like that, whenever they changed the metal composition of the bearings, going from lead copper to aluminum and tin or some crap like that. And so it makes me kind of disappointed, knowing that they probably weren't educated into bearings either. um, and they race cars, but they're racing E46 M3s. I'll give it that. They're not racing the E92s. So, uh, you know, but anyways, in the scheme of things, apparently I have had the original bearings all along, and I guess I did have a right to be concerned. But then it raises the question of, why has my car ran 169,000 miles with no problems, while other people's cars are blowing up, under 100,000 miles, or even when they change it out, they're like, "Oh man, I my car almost blew up. Look at how much copper," and the copper just like the whole thing is scored up. So it's a little weird, you know what I mean? And I have the bearings right here, and I'll show you, what they look like. But so I went back and I looked at, like, it's called like a BMW Wiki or something like that, and it's right here, and it talks about the original bearings that were in there, and they are the Clevite, with the Clevite logo, with the 088 and 089, which I have here in my hand. So I apologize to everybody, for, like I said, my garage misleading me, because I'm not a bearing expert, and maybe them not even being that knowledgeable themselves on the type of bearings. Because if you look at the bearings for the later year models, they don't have the same markings. They say BMW or something on them. So, through that whole wiki thing, and it just makes me look bad, because I'm really over here trying to help you guys, with this whole bearing issue, because that I put my car through the ringer, and it's got very high miles on it right now, and I want you guys to feel safe in knowing the things that I'm doing to my car. If you do the same thing, you should be okay too. And so, let's take a look at the bearing, and I could try to explain a little bit more. Here we have the bearing kind of close up, so you can see the markings. You see the CL for Clevite 113804B. And then if we flip it around right here, here's the tall tale sign 088/089, which indicates that these are the OEM bearings for 2007 to 2010.5. And the reason why they kind of switched these up, apparently, as the Wiki Euro thing says, is that the European standards, they got away from the lead, so these are like a tri-metal, I guess, or tri-metal or something like that, and it's got like a, the lead, copper, and then this kind of coating up on top here that you can kind of see is it's kind of layered a little bit, right? And then the new ones are the tin and aluminum ones, and they're supposed to be a little bit harder. So what kind of bearings went back into the car? I now that I look at everything and I look at how good these bearings held up in my car, he said that he put the original bearings, back in the OEM bearings. But when you try to, research the OEM bearings, you're going to find out that I guess you can't get these Clevite 088, 089 bearings anymore. So on the box right here, it shows this right here. You see that 702 on the end? They made a 702, 703 to replace essentially this part right here. And the 702 to 703 is the tin aluminum bearing that, now when I look at the scheme of things, I kind of wish I really did have the set of Clevites put back in here. And that's probably why everybody runs to BE, because they show the copper also. Which is kind of what you want for oil analysis, because the oil analysis is not going to pick up the aluminum and tin because there's just a high amount of aluminum in the engine block, and tin, I'm not quite sure what else is in there, but tin. So it's the good news is that the car did run. It didn't blow up. The original bearings run good, and I'm kind of glad we got to the bottom of this kind of like disinformation that I have fed everybody about the bearings here. And it was a little miseducation on my behalf, but like I said, I was going by really what the garage had told me, because I don't know shit about it. If I was doing it myself, I would have a little bit more knowledge, but I didn't do this work myself. And you guys know that I typically do all the work myself, but I just don't have the resources here in my garage to do this type of job myself. And that's where kind of the disinformation kind of comes from. It's like, okay, if I was doing it myself, I would have known every single little stupid thing about these bearings, because I would have researched the holy high hell, and I wouldn't be making this video right now. But it is what it is. I mean, shit happens, what I mean? I'm not right, like I said, all the time. And, I wish I was, but I'm just not. I just kind of wanted to kind of clear things up with you guys. But these were the original bearings. So the good thing is I didn't waste $3,300. I actually needed to get them changed. But like I said, with them coming out, not saying BMW, because he was probably looking at these when he pulled them out and said, oh, these have the BMW, stamped on it. And these have Clevite stamped on it. And he assumed that they were different ones, but in fact, they are not. They are the OEM bearings. So acid hands, he didn't change the bearings. And I'm kind of lucky that, I guess the concern was kind of real. But, the car didn't blow up. So I'm really, really happy about that. And I hope that kind of closes out this whole rod bearing thing, so I could kind of really move on, because this has been kind of haunting me for a very long time, these stupid things. And now I've even, by the time I get down to it, and then end up throwing you guys some disinformation by accident. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to move on to bigger and better things. We're going to close out this whole little debacle right here. And, as always, guys, thanks for watching, and, sorry for the mishap. Shit happens. And, we got a lot of good things coming now that we can move past this whole rod bearing thing in 2020. And I hope you guys will stick around, because we got some cool things that we're going to be doing to the E92 M3, the E36 M3 here. That's in kind of a disarray. You can see I bought a a blaster here, and I was trying it out. You can see the whole part is done. And I got some upgrades, some stuff coming to the i8 also. So I'm here to steal some shows this year. So stick around, check out the channel. I got a lot more new camera gear, a lot of professional gear now. Paid a grip of money for it, to try to bring you professional pictures, professional videos, not these cell phone videos like what I'm doing right now, but just easier to record on my cell phone for things like this. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for sticking around. It's 2020 going to be a better year. I'll, make a video and talk about my, my year in review, I think, like i8 Pat did. So, and till next time, guys, thanks for watching.